Let's go.
The Big Ten Coach of the Year goes to Pat Fitzgerald, and it's unanimous in 2018. First time in his 13 seasons he's won this award. This season started with his team not expected to win their division. That division had a preseason number 4 team in the country, Wisconsin, in it. But while the Cats struggled in non-conference, they went 8-1 in Big Ten play. That is the most conference wins they have ever had in a single season. Fitz and his Cats won their division, a first time doing that for the program. They did this while not winning a single non-conference game, something no team has ever done in any conference. And they played well on defense. No surprise for a former linebacker as head coach in Pat Fitzgerald, holding 7 of their 9 opponents in league play to 20 points or less. And that man, Pat Fitzgerald, joins us now from Evanston to talk about this honor. All right, Pat, end of September, you're 1-3. End of November, you're a division champion and the Big Ten Coach of the Year. How did that happen?
Well, it starts and ends in our locker room, Mike. You know, our young men have been incredibly resilient. We've had an amazing brotherhood all year, and just so thankful for all that they do. And this is a program award. This isn't about me. This is about those young men and our great staff. You know, everybody. It takes everyone, and I'm just so proud of our staff, our players, and our entire program.
Well, let's talk about your program. How is the team different now than it was 2 months ago when you're sitting 1-3?
Well, you know, I think, Mike, we had a lot of adversity. You know, we obviously had a handful of players that were coming off major injuries that were, you know, getting back into rhythm. We had some injuries happen in our offensive line, and those are all excuses. We needed to coach better. We needed to play better, and I think down the stretch, you know, we showed, I think, like I said, a great brotherhood. The guys stuck together and found a way to win. And, you know, again, that credit goes to the guys in the locker room and to our fabulous, fabulous staff.
What lesson was there to be learned from those first few losses in September?
That it's awful to lose. I mean, you know, it's nothing magical. I mean, we turned the ball over a bunch in one game. In another game, we obviously got off to a great start, and then we just couldn't finish the job. And then we played a very good Duke football team that played well against us. So, you know, you can't beat yourself. You can't beat 2 teams on any given Saturday. Our guys, I think, learned from that. Our younger players got a little bit more experienced. Our veterans got a little healthy. And then as the season went along, like everybody else, we faced adversity, and our guys just kept stepping up and finding a way to win. So, you know, nothing magical, just I think a team that stuck together, had a great band of brothers, and played for each other and cut it loose and made some plays and won games.
Well, you're almost putting it mildly when you say you faced adversity. I mean, you could argue Jeremy Larkin was your best player, and when that star running back gets injured and he has to retire from the sport of football, that threw a loop into the entire offense. When during the season did you feel your offense sort of refound itself?
Yeah, it was devastating, obviously, for Jeremy, and the right move. And we're so happy that, you know, we were able to work through everything, and life is going to be great for Lark, and he's going to be a big part of our program, not only the rest of this year, but for years to come. But it was opportunity for some guys to step up, and it took us a couple weeks for some guys to pick up the offense a little better. Grow up a little bit, and obviously Isaiah took over the leadership role from a you know, carry standpoint. But you know, I'm really proud of John Moten fighting through adversity, and the same thing with Solomon Vaught. You know, he came into the year banged up and finally got a little bit healthy. We've needed all of those guys now as we've gone down the stretch, and you know, our offensive line I think really solidified as we got healthy, and they've played pretty well all year.
How has that emergence of Isaiah Bowser affected your strategy on offense?
Yeah, Mike, it's given us balance, and you have to be able to run the ball in November in the Big Ten. It's incredibly difficult to win being one-dimensional. And so I think the balance, and Mick McCall and our offensive staff did a terrific job, I think, of just staying the course, working diligently to coach our guys to improve, and then we had guys step up and make plays. I mean, Bennett Skowronek's catch at Iowa, you know, that was one of the best receptions I've ever seen in this program's history. And, you know, 99-yard drive against Nebraska. There were a lot of things that our offense was able to get done and accomplish that might go unseen. And, you know, stats sometimes are a little bit misleading. You know, we had a pretty tough first maybe 5-6 weeks, you know, from some depth standpoint, but that evolved, that got better. And again, like I said earlier, the credit goes to our players. They stayed the course, and our staff did a great job coaching.
Speaking of depth, back in the spring, I was standing with you in your brand new facility, and we were talking about that. But once we got past the facility questions, the most important question I had for you was your quarterback depth, because it seemed impossible that Clayton Thorson could come back from that horrible injury. How is it possible he played every game this year?
Well, he's the most durable quarterback in Big Ten history. You know, he's got more starts than anyone else in the history of this great conference. And he's just such a warrior. You know, to go through the offseason, all about rehab, finding a way to get back on the field was incredibly inspiring to our entire program. You know, he wasn't the only one, but obviously the quarterback gets most of the attention.
You told Jerry DiNardo a few weeks ago that you sort of pick and choose when to be emotional in a locker room before a game. You got a title game coming up on Saturday. Is that a time to be emotional?
You know, I think you got to get a pulse of your team. I mean, today, obviously, we had our heavy work day getting prepared for one of the best teams in the country. And, you know, I was very matter-of-fact of the things that we need to do and how we need to do things to get ourselves prepared. And then I'll just I'll judge the way the team's going throughout the course of the week. They put a first day of prep. It was outstanding today. I'm not surprised, but they came very focused, very locked in, and put a great work day in. And now we're going to have to back it up again tomorrow.
You had multiple defensive backs who were hurt last week. They got a little bit of rest. How are they feeling this week?
And, you know, now you got a top, you know, in my opinion, top 4 team in the country that we got to face on a neutral site. So it's probably equally as important to our preparation as we get our rest and get our minds right to go have to take on an amazing opponent.
On May 24th, Jake Collins announced he was transferring to Northwestern to be your punter. When he got on campus, did you tell him, Jake, be ready to kick field goals in a Big Ten championship game?
No, I didn't tell him to get ready to kick off either. And, you know, Jake has really been an unsung hero for our squad. It's very rare that you hear a whole lot about the punter unless you're his family, number one, internally in your football program, number 2, or you give up something negative, right? So Jake has just been absolutely outstanding, and we're just so thankful that he's a part of our program.
Finally, Pat, biggest concern with facing Ohio State Saturday?
Yeah, you know, I think I said in my press conference yesterday, everything. You know, I think they're a complete football team. All 3 phases are incredibly well coached. Their talent jumps out in the kicking game. You know, that's where you really see their competitive depth. Offensively, as explosive as anybody in the country, with weapons that can score every time they touch the ball, and a quarterback that, in my opinion, is the Big Ten Player of the Year, and I'd vote for him for the Heisman. And then defensively, you know, the scheme that Coach Schiano runs, it puts a lot of pressure on you. They've got, you know, terrific talent across the board at every position, and playing as good a football as they have all year. I mean, that performance they had against the Wolverines, you know, that wasn't good. That was A+. That was outstanding, complete 3-phase football. So we've got to play our best game. We've got to play penalty-free, error-free, find a way to create turnovers and execute. And you know, it's going to be our most daunting challenge of the year, but I know our guys will be excited for it. And I'm very thankful for our fans. And we're going to have great fan support, especially our students. It's going to be exciting. We're honored to be going to Indianapolis. We're excited, but we've earned it, and we're excited for the opportunity.
Pat Fitzgerald, Big Ten Coach of the Year. Congrats on the honor. Well-deserved, and good luck on Saturday.
Thanks, my friend. Happy holidays to you and your family, and go Cats.